breaking him down slowly, but surely I knocked him out.
So I'm not going to call you Johnny Eblen anymore. It's Johnny Elbow now, because those elbows were vicious all the way through. You opened up a cut. I said it as we were closing the main broadcast. Even if you don't knock him out there in the third round, that cut reopened in round number 3. I don't think the doctor's going to let it continue after round 3 if you made it back to the stools.
Yeah, it was leaking bad, man. And then when I hit him with that elbow, shout out to Thiago Pitbull Alves. He's been my coach for a very long time, and we've been working elbows for a long time. And man, he's just telling me elbow, elbow, anytime we're in close distance and we're hanging out there. And it landed perfect, wobbled him, and I finished him with a good flurry of strikes.
Well, the elbows were kind of like the showstopper, but the jab did a lot of work tonight as well. Beautiful work with that lead hand, the jab, and it really helped you dictate the pace and the distance of this fight.
Yeah, so I've been training a lot with Sean Strickland, and dude, it's like a chess match with that guy, and I'm just trying to out-jab a very, very good striker. So a big shout out to Sean. I think my timing with the jab got a lot better training with him.
Did the effort in the jab change as well? Because you seem a lot more relaxed and more efficient, like you weren't trying to drill him with every single one. Is that something that you've added to your game as well?
Yeah, I had to add to that to my game as well. It's something I've been working on, but I finally polished it enough to be confident in the cage with it. Shout out to my coach, Dia Davis. It's all about touching them. You're not trying to hurt them with the jab, you're just trying to touch them. And if they move into it and the collision's just right, you might knock them out. But all I was concerned about was touching with a jab and touching that cut. Yeah. That's what caused the cut, was that jab on the top of his eyebrow.
Beautiful. Really, really solid work.
So, look, it's always cliche, especially after a big win, to talk about, is this the best version? Is this the best feeling you've had? But, I mean, we've watched a lot of Johnny Eblen over the years, and it feels like this might be the best Johnny Eblen we've seen.
I think it is, and I think my next outing, you're going to see the best Johnny Eblen. I'm just going to keep getting better each and every fight.
If you get the belt back, though, because you talked about this a little earlier in the week, how it kind of started to weigh you down a bit and you didn't really feel yourself. How do you stay this version of you if you get your belt back?
Man, just have fun. Relax and have fun and stay in the gym, and that's about it, man. I think before I put too much pressure on myself and I was trying too hard. But this fight, I wasn't trying too hard. I was being relaxed, taking what he was giving me, and relaxing and having fun out there, man. That's when you get the best Johnny Eblen.
And you got some great support over there in the crowd. I saw you take a moment with them. Who are those people?
That's my family.
Is that right? That was a beautiful moment you took there.
I love my family. They made it out here, and it truly means a lot that they make it out all the way to Austin. You know, they're from Missouri. It's not too far, but they always try to make it to every fight.
I want to talk about you and Sean Strickland. I mean, we've talked about you for a long time as probably the best fighter in the world at 185 pounds, maybe the best fighter in the world at 185 pounds.
Me and Sean are the best fighters at 185.
So, and now you're training together, and now you're leveling up, and now you're Voltroning, and just that's a scary thing.
Yeah, no, it's scary, dude. We're both getting very good very quickly, and not quickly, just slowly but surely, because we always train together, and he's like a brother to me, bro. And we would fight each other for a belt, you know, because we fight each other for free all the time.
That's right.
But why not just get some money, put some money on the table, and put a belt on the table? But at the end of the day, we're both humble enough to train with each other and get better.
I want to ask you about the face-off with Costello Vancinas. I know that you had some things to say when he dropped out of the fight initially, and then he showed up here with the belt, and you know, he's recovering from a knee injury, and you wanted that fight tonight. You wanted him to be your opponent here in Austin, Texas. Well, now the stage is set. The next fight for you is him. The next fight for him is you, definitively.
Yeah, let's hope he doesn't get hurt again, because this is a very big fight. It's the biggest fight the PFL can make. He didn't want it just because he had a little nagging injury. He wanted to push the fight 3 months. PFL didn't want to do that. They wanted to rebook us to next year, and I was like, I can't do that. I got to fight now. I was like, let's get me and Impa for an interim title. Dude, he's a dangerous guy. Like, I'm not a bitch. I want to come in and fight. I don't care who you are. I'm going to come in and fight. And Costello's not that type of guy. You know, he wants to be perfect, wants to take his time. Fuck that. I'm here to fight. I'm here to fight as many times as I can in a year and make as much money as possible.
Was he in your mind at all during the day, Costello?
Think about that.
Right, you were just focused on him.
The only thing that I care about is getting my revenge and getting that win back. Other than that, I don't care what that guy does. I didn't even know that he was training. I thought he really hurt his knee, but some reporter told me, oh no, I've been kind of stalking his shit, and he's like sweaty in the gym training. I'm like, that's interesting. Why isn't he fighting? That kind of pissed me off. But like I said, every day I don't really worry about fighters. I don't care about fighting. I care about my wife, you know, enjoying my life and hanging out with my family and friends.
So I don't know what the PFL plans timeline-wise are, but I know Costello, he joined us on the broadcast early, he said, yeah, I want whoever wins the main event, and he thought it was going to be you. I want whoever that is, I want him later this year. I want him in October. Is that a timeline that works for you?
Yeah, anything works for me. Like I said, I'm a fighter. You tell me when I'm going to fight, you pay me the right money, I'll be there. Just tell me when and where, you'll see Johnny Eblen fight.
I hope we get that fight before the end of the year. Does it feel different having this belt? Does it feel like an interim?
Who cares, bro? These are just belts. Fuck it. Who cares? At the end of the day, no one's going to remember Costello or me. Who cares, man? I'm here to have fun, fucking fight people, make money. Let's go.
This is the best version of Johnny Eblen.
I think I might dispute that. I think there are some people who might remember Johnny Eblen after performances like this one. What a night here in Austin. We're going to let you go enjoy this with your friends and your family and all the people here supporting you. Congratulations. Incredible performance once again.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me.
Johnny Elbow. I'm calling him that. I'm coining that, all right? It's Johnny Elbow from now on. And look, I mean, I don't want to belabor the point too much, but look how much fun he's having. Look how loose it is. And really, he fought that way as well, Dan. And a loose Johnny Eblen is a dangerous Johnny Eblen.
You know, it's kind of funny. His nickname's Pressure. Who thought that the one person that was going to put the pressure on him was himself, right? All that pressure that he was carrying when he was the champion, it just didn't suit him. This version of him right now, this is a version that takes the belt and holds it for a long time because he's comfortable, he's confident, he's happy. Of course, Costello's got the advantage of having a little look at what he's looking like now he's evolved, but can he make the adjustments is the question.
I think it's important to make the point also that Impa Kasanganay fought a really good fight tonight. It's not like he screwed it up. It's not like he underperformed. It's just that this version of Johnny Eblen is going to beat pretty much anyone at 185 pounds in the world. I would pay money to see what those rounds between Eblen and Strickland look like, because that version of Eblen could probably beat anybody, could probably beat Sean Strickland. But Impa Kasanganay, no reason to hang the head. He landed some big punches. He landed a couple of big kicks. It just wasn't enough against that version of that man.
For sure. And the other thing as well is, you know, when you find yourself leading in the first round of a 5-round fight, that can start to chip away at your confidence as well. You know, Eblen was in the same situation with Fabian, right? He went back to his corner, could have quite easily stopped it on that cut. He came out the next round knowing he had to make something happen, and he was up against an Impa that was in that same situation. I have to put my foot on the gas. I have to throw hard with that right hand. And Eblen was still able to control the danger in front of him and get an impressive win.
I don't want to make plans for Impa Kasanganay. It's not my place, but he has been fighting about every 3 or 4 months now for like 4 years. After a knockout like that, after taking a big elbow like that, it might be time for him to take a little bit of rest, let his body and brain fully recover, and we'll get the best version of Impa Kasanganay sooner than later. I can promise you that.
Yeah, I agree. You know, we've got loads of middleweights coming up. You know, Atangana's in the top 5 now. Boris Atangana's another powerhouse that's going to fit really nicely into this middleweight division. But Impa could take a little bit of time off and the division could move along, and he drops right back in at the top because we know how good he is. I agree with you. I think a little bit of rest and we're going to get another lease of life from our Impa Kasanganay.
Well, the main event certainly delivered. Can we talk about the co-main event as well?
Please, let's.
Louis McGrillen thought he was going to be fighting Sergio Pettis and put in a camp for Sergio Pettis, and a guy who's like a big name in the sport, a veteran, a former champion, someone who's got a pretty distinct style. And Sergio Pettis falls off because of an injury. In steps Rafael do Nascimento, a lot less known, but a guy that you can find tape on, right? He came up through one of the best regional leagues. He's been a fighter and a title holder in LFA. And wow, that chaotic style that kind of matches the energy of Louis McGrillen really proved to be a big tool for Militia tonight.
Yeah, a really, really impressive performance, especially considering that when the second round started, I was starting to think he was a little bit fatigued. I mean, he had to really fight hard to get these takedowns on Louis. Dived on that ankle lock, was very close with it. Incredible flexibility and balance from Louis McGrillen as well that kept him in the fight up until the point where he had his back taken. But at this point, where Louis is now starting to rise on confidence, he's throwing harder, he's taking bigger risks, and he leaves himself exposed. Do Nascimento scrambles onto his back here. He cinches up a body triangle there. Look how he adjusts it with his hands to then be able to focus on the head and shoulders of his opponent. And McGrillen was fighting and scrambling, trying to twist and turn. But there was a point where Do Nascimento, after these elbows, he pulls McGrillen back, drives his hips into his lower back, and that lifts the chin, sinks in the rear naked choke, and Don Nascimento introduced himself to the PFL bantamweight division in a huge way.
You cannot ignore this man moving forward. His first PFL win is a massive win. 10th career stoppage. He's now 13-3 overall. That is 9 pro submission victories for Rafael Don Nascimento. And while that one is a rear naked choke, he's got him. You saw him. He tried the calf slicer in this fight. He's going after a little bit of everything. I mean, I think he was trying to submit Lewis McGrillen just by lack of flexibility. With that takedown, he put McGrillen's instep on his forehead.
It was why I didn't think Lewis McGrillen had that flexibility, I'll be honest. But still, he's fighting, and his foot's all the way up next to his head. I mean, McGrillen's always going to fight till the last, but he knew he was beat tonight when that rear naked choke was sunk in. The good thing is McGrillen's in a position where he's got plenty of time left in his career. Still a young man, still very exciting. And just like the Wesley Myers setback, he's going to learn from it. But Don Nascimento's here in the bantamweight division, in amongst a whole load of really dangerous and exciting fighters that can take the fight anywhere. I am excited to see where he falls in the rankings in the next few weeks.
Can we talk about Julio Arce's performance?
Wow, yeah.
Kalen Loughran and Julio Arce both needed a win tonight, and Julio Arce needed it probably a little bit worse. Strong first round for Loughran, but Arce really put his foot on the gas pedal in rounds 2 and 3. He found the range with his strikes and put together some beautiful combinations. Pulls away for a decision victory.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the space that he had to work with in the very first round was so minimal that he really wasn't able to land anything of significance. Kalen Loughran was pushing forward, he was grabbing limbs, he was driving him into the fence and squeezing the life out of him. Lands that nice cuffing right hand over the top. So things started to go Kalen Loughran's way until that knee right at the end of the first round. Opened up a big cut, draw the doctor's attention, and that changes again Kalen Loughran's approach, because now he's got to stop taking shots on this cut. He's trying for the takedown, he's pushing to get into close range, and Julio Arce just started to open up with his boxing. Lovely uppercuts, counter-striking, and of course the footwork that saved the day. I really think he's another interesting addition to the PFL roster in the featherweight division, and of course Jesus Pinedo picked up a much-needed win as well. Like, this featherweight division's really starting to find its feet and fill out, and Julio Arce's just put himself right amongst it.
The accuracy with the punches, the footwork to keep himself off the cage after that first round, really strong performance. And you can see, I mean, he's such an experienced fighter. He really brought that into the cage with him tonight. He's now won 4 out of the last 5. And again, this performance puts him right in the mix at 145 pounds. Actually, our own Kennedy Smith caught up with Julio Arce backstage after the win.
Thanks, Sean. Julio, first PFL win. How was that fight? Walk me through it.
You know, when I first got that matchup, I knew who was going to come in to fight, who was going to be a tough matchup. But I was excited. I'm like, listen, I put a great fight last time. Didn't go my way, but then we're like, we got to get this back. So we make sure we strategize properly. You know, my team, Tiger Solomons, my coaches from day one, we just sat down, watched video, and we looked to just get the win. And it was by any means necessary. Whether it was submission, knockout, didn't matter. We were just going to make sure we got that W.
Well, this time it was you causing the bleeding. He had a pretty big gash on his forehead. At any point, did you think the fight was going to end because of that?
You know what? I think where it was, I don't think it was bad enough. And I know he's a tough guy. So he was going to push through that no matter what. He was not going to let it stop it. So I'm like, yo, let's fight. We're here.
Who's next for you? You want somebody ranked next?
Listen, whoever they give me. I just put on 2 great fights. Let's get some more awesome fights. Let's work our way up to a title. You know, I started off as ranked when I fought Perganti, and I think then I got removed from the ranks. So, you know, put me back up there. Listen, I hold my own with a bunch of the best in the world, and I'm going to be the best in the world. So let's climb up that ladder and get to a world title.
Congrats, Julio.
Thank you so much.
Sean.
Big thanks, Kennedy. Congratulations to Julio Arce. A great win for him. Dan's matchmaking here during the Kennedy segment. Also on the main card tonight, opening things up, was Jesus Pinedo. This is a former featherweight champion in the PFL. He's had some struggles as of late. He hasn't really looked himself. He had a weight cut problem. He actually missed weight for this one. But tonight was the statement victory I think he needed, not only for the matchmakers, but for himself.
Yeah, there was a lot of relief in the victory, and normally he's elated, but there was definitely a different feeling tonight after that victory. I would imagine, and he never wants to tell us too much, but I would imagine he's had some problems in camp which forced him to struggle with the weight more than he would normally. I mean, he's a big guy for the weight class, we've talked about this, but normally he would make weight. And this time around he struggled, and he came out here looking like he really just needed to exercise some demons, especially after that last fight against Salamatis Valaya didn't go his way. I think this version of Jesus Pinedo is now ready to step on to the next phase of his career, refine his mindset, refine his weight cut, and then start to look to who else in the division can, you know, be a potential matchup. And we've just had Julio Arce, a featherweight with a great record, 22-7 now. Jesus Pinedo's sitting there on the same card in the same timeline cycle. I think that would be a really good test for both of those guys. See if they can keep the momentum going.
That's why he's so good. You know, he's not only thinking about what happened tonight, he's thinking about what should happen in the future here in the PFL. Speaking of the future, John Martin, our CEO, in the building tonight. He caught up with Kennedy Smith. We'll see if there's plans.
Thanks, Sean. John, what a night here in Austin, Texas. Tell me your favorite moment.
Just one?
You got to give me one first, then we can go through all the rest.
All right, well, look, let's start with the main event. I thought either one of those guys could win the fight. Johnny obviously is a really, really elite fighter, and he came out tonight. I was surprised he didn't try to take Impa down because I think he's a better wrestler, but he beat Impa at the part of the game that Impa was the best at. So Johnny once again demonstrated that there's levels to this sport, and he, I think, reiterated that he's at the top of the food chain here. And of course, you got Costello cast in a very, very wide shadow right now. And those guys were about ready to scrap in the middle of the cage afterwards. So I'm glad that that didn't happen. But that fight's going to be on fire.
I was about to say, what did you think about that face-off? It got really intense.
Yeah, well, they asked me to go in the middle. I was happy to be on the outside. I was like, I didn't need to be in the middle of this. They are both really, really intense. They both want this. And that's going to be the biggest fight in the PFL.
What about some other fights tonight? We got a Jesus Pinedo win. We got a Don Nascimento win. Really big fights.
Yeah, both of those were big wins. I mean, Pinedo I was really looking forward to seeing because I was there when he lost last fight, which I was a little bit surprised that Salamatis Valaya took it to him. But he came out with something to prove. But what I was really impressed with tonight is he took his time in the first round. He let the round wind down, and then when he had an opportunity, he just came in and he finished with a lot of energy and a lot of exuberance. And he demonstrated why he really is a champion, and he wants to be considered back in the top of the weight class. So that was a good night for him. Lewis McGrillen, disappointment night, right? I didn't really know what to expect from Don Nascimento. He's an excellent fighter, and I'm really glad that we signed him, and he's got a future here now. Like, he made a big statement tonight. And he demonstrated that he could stand up, and he demonstrated that he had elite wrestling. That's where Lewis got outclassed a little bit. So, again, great set of fights.
Fabulous night here in Austin. We are just 2 into a whole series of summer fun here at the PFL. We've got 3 more belts to give out. So what do we look forward to?
Well, let's start next weekend. We're going to be down in D.C., and we've got Thad Gene finally back in the cage, and he's going to be fighting Shamil Musayev. Look, Thad coming off of a World Tournament victory a year ago, but Shamil has been at the top of the weight class for a really long time. So you got Thad really wanting to establish legacy and seeing if he could really displace Shamil, who's been in that top ranking for a long time. So that's a really exciting fight. And then we roll into New York, where we've got Usman Nurmagomedov fighting undefeated Archie Kogan. Between the two of them, they have 34 wins and 0 losses. And then you've got Dakota coming back in the co-main against Denise Kielholtz. And she's been out of the cage for almost a year with injury, so we're excited to have her back. She's probably the biggest name in all of women's MMA in the world. And then, of course, later on, we're going to celebrate the legacy and the career of Chris Cyborg. So I can't wait.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us. This is such an amazing night. Looking forward to so much more.
Likewise, it'll be a busy summer.
Absolutely. Sean?
Here's the upcoming schedule next weekend. Welterweight world title bout on our Washington, D.C. card. 2 weeks from tonight, we're in Long Island, New York, where Usman Nurmagomedov faces Archie Kogan in the main event. Charlotte features a main event between Brian Battle, who's a hometown boy, and Dalton Rasta, 2 very exciting middleweights. And then the aforementioned Cyborg legacy fight to cap off the summer series in our main event against Ketlin Vieira. That is in Tampa, Florida. 4 more events in the next 5 weeks. Join us in DC. Tickets available if you scan that QR code. Would love to see you there Saturday, July 25th. PFLMMA.com for more information on the rest of the schedule, the fight cards for all of those events, and of course, any tickets. One last look at the highlights from our main card tonight. El Mudo, that's the mute in Spanish. Well, he made a loud statement with his win to open the card. Julio Arce back to winning form in a grueling 3-round decision over Kalen Loughran. Rafael do Nascimento came in as an underdog and an unknown, and he leaves as a potential rising star here in the PFL. And Johnny Elbow with the knockout victory in the main event. Sean O'Connell, Dan Hardy, Kennedy Smith, thank you for watching PFL Austin.